Goeiemôre, liewe vriende. Namens die kerkraad van ons gemeente, namens die gemeente net ons innigste simpatie met hierdie groot verlies van 'n familielid, maar ook van 'n vriendin, van 'n kollega. Mag die Here vir julle die vertroosting gee en die versterking gee wat hy alleen vir ons kan gee. Voordat ek voortgaan in 'n gebed doen, kan ek net vra dat jy maar net gou sal kyk dat die selfoon net op die sagte verstelling is of afgesit asseblief, dat dit nie vir ons pla tydens die diens nie. En mag ek dan net ook van ons kant spesiaal vir Leon en vir Tamarin sê, mens, as jy nog self 'n boetie of 'n sussie begrawe het nie, ek het al 2 susters persoonlik moes begrawe, dan verstaan 'n mens nie iemand anders te seer nie. Maar geen 2 situasies is dieselfde nie. En elkeen van ons ervaar daardie verlies op ons eie persoonlike manier. Maar een ding weet ek ook, die Here hanteer ons nie as 'n groepie nie. Hy hanteer ons as individue. En hy sal deur sy gees en deur sy woord sal hy die vertroosting uitdeel soos wat julle dit persoonlik nodig het. En so ook al die familie, ook hulle wat ingeskakel is by hierdie diens. Kom ons word stil en dan begin ons ook hierdie diens as 'n erediens in die naam van die drie-enige God. Ons begin, ons voortgang en ons einde is in die naam van die Vader en in die naam van die Seun en in die naam van die Heilige Gees. Amen. Daarom geliefdes, genade vir julle en vrede van God ons Vader, van Christus Jesus ons Here, deur die kragtige werking van die Heilige Gees. Ek gaan vir ons skrifgedeelte doen, ek hou dit kort. Ek sal die belangrike gedeelte ook in Engels herhaal, en dan het Tamarin met my gereël, dat ek maar so, ek wil nie sê presies om die helfte nie, maar dat ek bietjie Engels sal praat, bietjie Afrikaans sal praat, maar ons wil graag vir julle almal insluit by wat ons met julle wil deel. Voordat ons uit die woord van die Here lees, gee ons net eers erkenning aan die skrywer van hierdie woord. Here, Romeine is deur Paulus geskrywe, maar o Heilige Gees, ons weet, as hy nie in Paulus se hart gewerk het nie, dan sou hy nie 'n enkele woord wat sin maak, wat insig toon, wat vryspraak bring, wat troos gee, kon neerskryf nie. En daarom erken ons dat U die eintlike skrywer is, en ons gee aan U al die eer. En Here, in hierdie oggend wil ons die lewende woord van die lewende God hoor. Daarom vra ons, o Heilige Gees, as ons hierdie woorde lees in die Bybel, dat dit vir ons lewend sal word, dat dit ons harte sal aanraak, op so 'n manier dat ons troos sal vind, en ook op so 'n manier dat U geëer sal word, deur die manier waarop ons hier teenwoordig is. Here, ja, selfs hier waar ons afskeid neem, wil ons hê dat wat hier sal gebeur, tot eer van die heilige naam sal wees. En daarom bid ons dit in U naam. Amen. Romeine 8, ek lees vanaf vers 31. Wat is nou ons gevolgtrekking oor al hierdie dinge? Wat sal ons sê? Dit. God is vir ons. Wie kan dan teen ons wees? Hy het sy eie seun nie gespaar nie, maar hom uitgelewer om ons almal te red. Sal hy ons dan nie al die ander dinge saam met hom uit genade skenk nie? Wie kan die uitverkorenes van God aankla? God self spreek hulle vry. Wie kan ons veroordeel? Christus het gesterf, maar meer as dit. Hy is uit die dood opgewek. Hy sit aan die regterhand van God. Hy pleit vir ons. In al hierdie dinge is ons meer as oorwinnaars deur hom wat vir ons liefhet. Hiervan is ek oortuig. Geen dood of lewe of engele of magte of teenswoordige of toekomstige dinge of kragte of hoogte of diepte of enige iets anders in die skepping kan ons van die liefde van God skei nie. Die liefde wat daar is in Christus Jesus, ons Here. I repeat 2 or 3 of the verses for us again. Romans 8:31. With this in mind, what are we to say? If God is on our side, who is against us? He did not spare his own Son, but gave him up for us all. And with this gift, how can he fail to lavish upon us all he has to give? Then, what can separate us from the love of Christ? I'm certain that nothing can separate us from his love, neither death or life, neither angels nor heavenly rulers or powers. There is nothing in all creation that will ever be able to separate us from the love of God, which is ours through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Nothing, not even death, can separate us from the love of Christ. When we did our final year of theological study so many years ago, we had to write a dissertation, a bit of research that you have done, shown that you know your field of study and so forth and so on. And one of my friends has written a dissertation which I will never forget. It was written by a guy by the name of Wim van der Walt. It was short for Wilhelmus van der Walt. Now, I've translated his topic into English, Modern Man in Search for Meaning. We all want to live a meaningful life, and whenever something bad happens to us, whenever there's bereavement, whenever somebody dies, we try to fathom the meaning of it all to us. He dedicated his dissertation for Retty, is one of 2 sisters in the family. She was 16 years of age when she died as a severely handicapped, still actually a child. She could never walk herself. She had a little car that moved her around in the house. She could talk, she could communicate, but they could never teach her much. And at 16 years of age, she became severely ill. She fell into a coma. And very unfortunately, the father, who was in a major managerial position, couldn't afford himself the time to go to the deathbed of his child. The mother fell ill with so-called measles, but it was mere a psychological defense mechanism for her not to be able to visit her child that was still in the children's hospital in Joburg. You were not allowed to enter in there when you had something like measles. So Wim, all on his own, was sitting next to her bed. And then something wonderful happened. She came out of the coma. She put her arms around him, his neck, and she said to him, Wim, I love you, or Wilhelmus, I love you so much. And that was also her last words before she gave up the ghost. At the front page, at the bottom of the page, in his dedication, he just wrote the words, for Retty. And it was followed by this line, sometimes the unfinished are among the most beautiful of symphonies. Now, those of you who know a little bit of the classical music will know that this is actually a reference to the final work of the composer Beethoven. His last symphony that was written in 1872, was never finished. It was his 10th symphony. And in reference to his 10th symphony, it's very hard to believe that somebody can say that sometimes the unfinished are among the most beautiful of symphonies, because it wasn't a symphony at all. It was merely fragments of notes and lines that he still had to string together, but he was just too ill to complete it. So it was actually totally a fragment of the symphony. In contrast, Beethoven's 9th Symphony, Ode to Joy, was absolutely the pinnacle of his creative genius. Now, how can the 10th ever be compared to the 9th? Fragments with a masterpiece. And, somehow, I think this may be an experience to all of us. At times, one's own life can run very smoothly, and you can be on top of it all, on top of the world. You can feel like singing Ode to Joy and really mean it. And sometimes your life can become disjointed, you can become ill, you can lose something that is very dear to you, and then you are just left with fragments and you're trying to make sense of this all. Magriet's life seems to me is a real tragedy in the sense that to die at the age of 36, it's not a completed life. If it is 72 or 82, then we normally console ourselves by saying that person had a full life. But 36, you're just starting out. You're really starting out. An unfinished life, a bit of a fragmentation. Can we honestly say that this will be the best of symphonies? Can we say that? At the corner of one of our streets here, the Villa Boa, if you know it, and Delmas Road, there's an uncompleted building. It's not a ruin. It's a massive building. It was supposed to become a big mall. By now, the children would have visited there, frolicking around, watching movies, maybe going for ice skating, people doing shopping, laughing. But there's nothing of that. It's a derelict building. And it has become some kind of an eyesore in our community. No life, no shopping, no enjoyment, no laughter at all. When we think of Magriet's life, can we this morning muster up the courage and the joy to say we are here to celebrate her life? Or are we only really here to mourn her life, to grieve a great loss? En dan wil ons sê, Here, weet U hoe seer werklik kan wees. Die seer wat 'n mens ervaar hier in jou binneste. In Johannes 11 word 'n verhaal vertel waar Jesus, sy beste vriend, Lazarus, moes gaan begrawe het. Eintlik was hy klaar in die graf. Sy susters het gesê, kom help tog. Jou vriend is baie siek, en dan as Jesus daar aankom, is hy klaar dood en hy lê in die graf. En as 'n mens daai gedeelte lees, dan val dit op dat Jesus nie minder as 3 keer gehuil het, toe hy vir Maria hulle sien, toe hy die mense sien, en toe hy by daai graf staan nie. En dit is baie vriendelik vertaal om te sê hy het gehuil. Daar staan nie hy het gehuil nie, nie in die Grieks nie, daar staan hy het uitgebars in trane. Sy gemoed het vol geskiet. Jy weet daai punt wat 'n mens kom, die emosies word net te groot en dan loop dit net oor. En dit het by Jesus presies net so gebeur, soos wat dit maar by ons ook gebeur, wanneer ons daai diep seer ervaar. He grieves with those who grieve, and he shed a tear with those who cry. En tog kan God vir ons troos en selfs vreugde bring. Ook vandag. Hoe? Dis nie menslik moontlik nie. Maar by God is alles moontlik. Vers 31 sê, God is vir ons, wie kan teen ons wees? Hy het sy eie seun nie gespaar nie. En daardie seun, wat uit die graf uit opgestaan het, sit aan die regterhand van God, en hy pleit vir ons by ons hemelse Vader. Mens bou konsepte, gedagtes, idees op oor wie God is, en dit kom oor 'n lang tydperk, van kleintyd af. Wie is God? Hoe is hierdie God wat ons nie kan sien nie? Ons lees baie in die Bybel en baie van dit verstaan ons nie. Maar ons het hierdie beelde van God. En baie keer het ons 'n beeld van 'n God wat baie streng is. Hy is soos daai baas wat baie kwaai is en wat alles moet net 100% reg wees en jy voel altyd jy's altyd so min of meer in die moeilikheid. Jy weet net nie hoe diep jy in die moeilikheid is nie. Jy voel ongemaklik. Maar die Here wat vir ons wag en wat ook vir Magriet gewag het, daar aan die ander kant, is nie so nie. Hy is 'n God van liefde. Hy sê in die Ou Testament, in sy verbond, sê hy, ek wil vir jou God wees, en jy moet my kind wees. Nie my onderdaan nie, nie een wat ek in diens geneem het, nie my kind. Persoonlike taal van liefde. God never gives up loving us, even when he is saddened by what we do. Ons het almal sulke oomblikke, wat jy so naby aan die Here voel, en jy voel jy groei in jou geloofslewe, en dan op 'n keer, dan vou jy, en jy doen iets wat verkeerd is, of jy doen 'n grove sonde. Hou God dan op om ons lief te hê? Nee, hy hou nooit op om ons lief te hê nie, al maak dit hom miskien hartseer. Unconditional love never means unconditional approval. As God my onvoorwaardelik lief hê, dan keer God nie onvoorwaardelik alles wat ek doen en dink en sê goed nie. Want hy is God, sal dit nie doen nie. As hy dit moet doen, dan help hy jou oor die afgrond. En hy wil jou nie afgrond toe vat nie. Hy wil vir jou na daai plek toe in die hemel toe vat, wat hy vir jou ook voorberei het. To love without condition does not mean to love without concern. As ons praat van, kan ons ook hier vreugde ervaar, waar 'n mens afskeid neem van Magriet op 36-jarige onvoltooide lewe. Ek dink ons kan. Maar dan moet ons vanoggend iets doen. En u moet dit doen, en ek sal dit saam met u doen. Julle wat vaar goed geken het. As 'n mens, sê nou maar 'n mooi vaas het soos daardie, en hy is van kristal gemaak. En jy laat val daai kristalglaas op 'n sementblad van 'n hoë hoogte af. Dan spat hy in honderde, miskien duisende fragmente. As geen manier hoe jy hom weer aan mekaar kan sit nie. Al het jy baie goeie mikroskope en gom wat sal werk. Ja, nie is baie makliker, ons koop 'n ander een. Daai ene, vee hom op, gooi hom in die asblik. Of, as jy hom regtig wil regmaak, dan vat jy hom, en jy vat hom na iemand toe wat met glas werk. En daai maak al die stukke bymekaar, met die klippers, met die grassies, met al die debris daar tussenin, and he put it into a furnace, and he melts it. And then it becomes something that he can work with, and then he makes something else out of it. Maybe not exactly the same glass, but he's going to make something new. Dis wat geloof is. Mense, die fragmente, die stukke van jou eie lewe, elke dag in God se hand. Party stukke is baie bruikbaar, party is nie bruikbaar vir die koninkryk van God nie. Maar as jy by hierdie punt gekom het wat jy sê, Here, dinge is nie reg in my lewe nie, en ek wil hê dit moet anders wees. Ek wil hê dit moet ook vir u kan eer, al is dit 'n klein bietjie. Dan sit ek dit in die hande van die Here, en hy maak dit vir ons nuut. Dan sê hy vir ons hierdie Here het sy lewe vir ons gegee. Sal hy dan nie al die ander dinge vir ons saam wil gee nie. As hy die hoogste, die ultimate vir ons gegee het sy lewe, is daar niks wat jy vir die Here in geloof gaan vra wat hy nie vir jou sal gee nie. Ag, en dan die grootste troos van hierdie gedeelte as hy sê, ek weet, geen dood, geen lewe, niks in hierdie lewe kan ons skei van die liefde van God nie. Geen dood. Magriet se dood, Magriet se gefragmenteerde lewe, wat sy in 'n groot mate ook geërf het, wat net na haar kant toe gekom het en vir haar diep seer gemaak het as mens, ook dit kan haar nie skei van die liefde van God nie. Want God is groter as dit alles. En een ding moet ons vanoggend weet, waar sy nou is hy in die hande van God. Nie meer in die hande van mense wat kan skeef kyk, kan kritiseer. Mens raak baie keer moedeloos met mekaar, maar nou is sy by 'n God, wat 'n grenslose liefde ook vir haar het. En die Here, van daai gebroke lewe, en net God, kan 'n simfonie daarvan maak. Dan is dit nie langer onvoltooide simfonie. Nou word dit deur God voltooi. Dit wat sy nie kon voltooi nie, dit voltooi God vir haar. En dit gaan hy met elkeen van ons doen. Want wie van ons se lewe is nou 'n volmaakte simfonie? Daar's te veel valsnote, daar's te veel note wat net weg is. Daar's te veel gapings, daar's te veel fragmente, te veel gebrokenheid, te veel sonde, te veel ongehoorsaamheid. Daar's baie mooi dinge ook, en daarvoor sê ons dankie vir die Here, vir goeie lewens, vir 'n lewe wat gerig is op die koninkryk van God, om God lief te hê en jou medemens lief te hê. Ek gaan afsluit met 'n laaste aanhaling, en ek doen dit baie doelbewus. Ek doen dit sodat u vanoggend elkeen saam met my 'n uitnodiging van die lewende Here kan hoor. Jy weet, soos wat ons hierso sit, ons is 'n klomp individue, dit is Magriet se afsterwe wat vir ons hier bymekaar gebring het. Een van ons wat hier sit, gaan die volgende wees, van wie afskeid geneem gaan word. Ons weet nie wie dit is nie, maar verseker, een of ander tyd, dan is daar so geleentheid vir jou ook, net, jy gaan nie regtig deel wees daarvan nie. Jou geliefdes, jou vriende, gaan dieselfde doen as wat ons vanoggend vir Magriet doen. En ek wil vir jou regtig sê, geniet die lewe. Geniet ook die God wat lewe gee. Aanvaar dit dat hy sê, ek wil jou God wees, jy moet my kind wees. Deuteronomium 30 vers 19. I am offering you life or death, blessing or curse. Choose life, that you and your descendants may live. Ons buig ons hoofde en ons aanbid die Here. Wonderlike Here, dankie dat ons U kan ken as 'n God van liefde. Nie net as 'n God van oordeel en vernietiging en wat net hierdie ongelooflike hoë eise aan ons stel nie. Maar U het vir ons so verskriklik lief, Here Jesus, dat U hierdie pad kom loop het ter wille van ons. Aan daai kruis gesterf het vir ons sondes, vir ons gefragmenteerde lewens. En het U opgestaan uit die dood en het U oorwin, die dood se mag gebreek en die sonde in ons lewens oorwin. En Here, ons glo in U, dat U dit vir elkeen van ons ook gedoen het, ook vir Magriet dit gedoen het. En Here, dat ons nou verseker kan wees, daai lewe gaan in 'n simfonie eindig. En dis die soort van simfonie wat 'n mens in die hemel hoor. Want God is die skepper daarvan. God doen dit met liefde. Wil U vir almal wat hier is vanoggend seën, Here. O Heilige Gees, kom en raak hulle harte aan en gee vir hulle daardie diep vertroosting wat U alleen kan gee. Aan U gee ons al die eer en al die aanbidding van ons harte. En ons eer U vir hierdie lewe. En ons wil vir U dankie sê vir haar. En ons wil hierdie lewe vier wat nou veilig in haar Vader se hande is. In Jesus se naam bid ons dit. Amen.
You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hands will be my guide. Where feet may fail, where fear surrounds me, you never fail, and you won't start now. So I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine. Me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. And take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. My soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, and you are mine. Grander earths quaked before, moved by the sound of his voice, and seas that are shaken and stirred can be calmed and broken for my regard. And through it all, my eyes are on you. And through it all, it is well. And through it all, my eyes are on you. And it is well with me. Far be it from me to not believe, even when my eyes can't see. And this mountain that's in front of me will be thrown into the depths of the sea. And through it all, my eyes are on you. And through it all, it is well. And through it all, my eyes are on you. And it is well. It is well. So let it go, my soul, and trust in him. The waves and wind still know his name. So let it go, my soul, and trust in him. The waves and wind still know his name. So let it go, my soul, and trust in him. The waves and wind still know his name. The waves and wind still know his name. And it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. Oh, it is well with my soul. 'Cause of who you are, Lord. It And through it all, it is well, Lord. And through it all, my eyes are on you, and it is well with me.
Kom ons sit. Ons gaan nou vir Leon en vir Asher geleentheid gee vir huldeblyke en dan gaan Tamarin vir ons afsluit met 'n woord van dank. Leon.
Maar dankie. Ja, dankie vir almal wat hier is vandag. Dankie vir familie en vriende, mense wat van ver af gekom het. Ek het 'n boodskap hier geskryf vir my suster in die boekie. Sluit ek gaan 'n bietjie van 'n vertaling doen sodat ek seker maak almal is ingesluit in die boodskap wat ek wil gee. My sister Magriet, brilliant, generous, and an artist at heart. She had the talent to take something ordinary and turn it into a masterpiece. I was her biggest fan. Her soft heart wanted to take care of everyone and everything, even if this was sometimes to her detriment. She made a lasting impression with everyone she met, with her loving personality and her brilliance. She excelled in everything she put her mind to, and being an overachiever in most areas. She was hardworking and didn't give up till she succeeded. We went through so much together, so much heartache, but we stood together through thick and thin. Just as an example of her brilliance, she could complete a master's, even though at that time she was battling with anxiety and debilitating depression. I was so proud of her. Who could understand why she had to leave so soon, when she has still had so much to offer the world? I believe her soul is free now, free from the body that held her back. And I do hope that she can continue with her work that she loved so much. I wish to see these beautiful works again someday. Ricky, I love you so much. And I will truly miss you until we see each other again. Thanks.
Asher, please.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so I had a whole speech written, but now, since listening to everything, I've kind of juggled it all up. The last week's been crazy. Anyone who will listen to me, I keep telling them how unbelievable Magriet was, how unbelievable, how clever she was, how lucky I was to see her genius, to actually see her genius. And I keep thinking, why am I so obsessed with telling everyone how brilliant she was? Like, why is there this crazy obsession? I think after some good introspection with the team and our friends, we've realized that actually we're smack bang in the middle of a story. You spoke about the kind of fragments and the symphony being the best one, even though it was fragmented. But as we've kind of seen it, is that this isn't the end of a story, but the middle of a story. So that leaves us, when trying to remember Magriet with, what's the next stage? What's the next step? How do we now, as her compact circle, kind of propagate the rest of the story? So the first thing, I think it's important to address, Magriet had this close circle, and then some of us knew her, some of us knew some of her. And initially there was this kind of feeling of like, well, you didn't let me in everywhere. But again, we've worked through it, and we've kind of come to this unbelievable realization that, Magriet had a difficult time, and she protected us. She would keep certain doors closed in order to actually keep us safe from the kind of torment and tragedy that she had to grapple with. Having lost both parents, and you talk about the anxiety, I was in her class, in her room in Masters. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know she was suffering with that. It's only later, her boss, her colleague, her friend, that I started to be let into certain doors and to understand more of the unbelievable layers, that made Magriet. I think as you kind of peel back the layers, it's do it at your own risk. And with that, is her genius. So everybody's talking about how clever she is, and I see on the back there all these big, beautiful renders. Maybe this is controversial, but that's not her genius. It wasn't producing wonderful architecture. The story of Magriet, when we say we're in the middle of it, is in the hospitals that she did, the schools that she did. These like seriously detailed, intricate projects where she untangled, maneuvered, and literally like injected this otherworldliness into. Those stories, they keep going. Kids move through these spaces, patients move through these spaces. I don't know if you know, Magriet worked on all the Reach for a Dream rooms. So they're these tiny projects. They don't stand up, as a large-scale development, but they literally see thousands of children in hospital go through on the daily. So when we talk about Magriet's story continuing, and her legacy continuing, you can imagine the impact that's happening just in that sphere. We're about to, see a physical manifestation of Magriet. Our 3 biggest projects come up this year, and it's like wild to see her impact. It's so tangible, it's crazy, and we're about to build those, and it's knowing that we've got, this voice of Magriet in the background, and not only the voice, but the kind of visible genius that's kind of playing through is another aspect, of the story continuing. So when it's been a crazy and tragic week, but it's also been, an insane time to realize that, Magriet's impact behind a screen is so much bigger than what most of us can dream of ever doing. She literally, from her kind of comfort cave, behind this like mad machine, and this computer has like a gravitas to it. I can't explain it. Like really feels like an important computer. She would generate like this insane work, and I can't express enough like the kind of work and the social aspect of it is going to have a larger impact than we can ever kind of imagine. The other thing that's happened, is we talk about knowing Magriet. Most of you can probably just remember the voice. Like, how many people do you remember by that kind voice, that generous voice? How do you kind of contend with that? That's something that we've kind of, as a team, really heard, right, and internalized. So what we've decided to do, which I think is a nice way to kind of propagate the story of Magriet, is we as a team are creating something called Maggie's Manual. Now, no one knows how to be methodical like Magriet. and no one knows how to untangle and to just make these brilliant things like Magriet. So what we've decided to do is like take cognizance of it and try and analyze, like, yes, what were you doing that was so unbelievably clever, and how can we make order of it? So in doing that, that's one of the ways that we're just trying to kind of continue the legacy. The last thing, which I think is very important to just say, you know, most geniuses, you look around the world, they keep it as intellectual property, and this is something we worked through again with our counseling session that we had. But Magriet thing, you know about Magriet, keep her memory going, but at the same time carry her and internalize her now that there's no physical body constricting that, and internalize her and just carry the story forward. Thank you.
Firstly, I thank our Heavenly Father for giving us this interesting and brilliant soul. We know that you will love having her with you above. Then I look to her brother Leon. You were brave for Magriet. You were her advisor. You protected and defended her against the world. You were ever hopeful. And you really offered unconditional love. You were proud of her, which made her exceptionally happy. Thank you. I thank Marita, who can't be here today, but has joined us virtually with Peter, and Tani Aline, Tani Christine, for your love, support, and understanding that you've given over all the years. Thank you for opening up your homes and being present as parents for Magriet and Leon. Thank you to the family that have traveled far today. We are so blessed to have you in our lives. Thank you for the friends, old and new, and colleagues that are with us today, remembering Magriet's life. Thank you, Asher, for your tribute and for valuing Magriet. For all of us, treasure the good memories and leave everything else behind. Leon and I thank our family and friends for being with us today and for all the messages of support. I pray for peace and comfort for all of us. Reverend Nal, thank you for honoring us today, as well as the NG Moraleta Church. Thank you, Janine, for throwing your heart into helping with arrangements. Thank you, Marika, for your beautiful voice. We really and deeply appreciate all the love and support.
And we also say thank you to you, Tamarin, for what you've done here. Friends, what we're going to do now, we're going downstairs, we're going to the Hirsch. You will there have the opportunity, to participate, to say last goodbye. I'm going to say a final prayer. And once the Hirsch is left, then we will return here and you will enjoy a refreshment with the family. Can we go down, please? Thank you.